Today, I'm breaking down the 5 biggest mistakes holding you back in Chapter 6, Season 2, and how to fix them so you can start winning more fights, ranking up faster, and finally playing like a pro. Stick around because the last mistake is what separates casuals from pros, and you're probably doing it without even knowing. Mistake number 1, bad pace control. So what is this mistake? Chapter 6's meta isn't just about building fast, it's about controlling the pace of your fights. Most players either push too aggressively and get third-partied, or they play too slow and let their opponent take control of the fight. How can you fix this? The first way you can fix this is by using fake edits to slow down your fights. A fake edit is when you edit and then reset to bait a shot. Another way to fix this is to take a shot and then instantly build to get cover. You never want to overcommit. And the final way to fix this is if you get pressured, don't just hold walls and sit in one spot. Use movement to reposition, expand your box, and try get some counter damage. And I'll quickly show you a quick drill that you can do over and over to ensure you stop making these mistakes. Okay, so the drill I want you to do is actually really easy. All you want to do is just jump into any creative map and just place a wall. And then what you're going to do is edit and reset as fast as you possibly can. A way you can make editing really easier if you don't have it on already is by putting on scroll wheel reset. To do that, it's quite simple. Just go to the building section in your binds, scroll all the way down to build and edit, put that onto either scroll wheel up or scroll wheel down, and put whatever scroll wheel you put on build and edit on also reset build and edit. An alternative way you can practice this drill, which can be a little bit harder, is by doing double edit downs and then resetting as quick as you can. And you can do that over and over and over, just like this. Mistake number 2, wrong fight selection. What do I mean by wrong fight selection? Well, most players in Chapter 6 either take no fights or take every fight they see, but in Chapter 6 Season 2, the game rewards smart fights and not every fight. Before committing to a fight, you need to ask yourself, am I in a good position? Do I have good mats? Do I have good heals? And what is my opponent's skill level? The first way for you to fix this mistake is to only take fights where you have positional advantage. Positional advantage means to have the high ground or have natural cover. Another way to fix this mistake is to avoid mid-game fights unless you really need mats or loot, aka a refresh. And the final way to fix this mistake is to pay attention to third parties. If 2 players are fighting, wait for the perfect moment to clean up and don't just jump in to the middle of the 2 because you're gonna lose that fight. The best chance for you to jump in is when you've seen one of the players die and you've also seen the player that killed him get cracked. For mistake number 3, wasting mats too fast. Mats in Chapter 6 mean so much. If you waste them early, you're a free elimination in endgame for anyone. Too many players in Chapter 6 either overbuild or completely underbuild. You need to find a middle balance where you're not using too many mats but not using so little to the point you should get eliminated anyway. I'd rather die after using all my mats and fighting my hardest than trying to save my mats, and that's the reason I got eliminated. How can you fix this mistake? To start, using natural cover or some sort of building is very helpful. However, you want to make sure you're using some builds, otherwise you'll get tagged in the back. Next, you only want to use your mats when completely necessary. You want to avoid build fights and mostly go for box fights. And for the last way you can prevent this mistake is in endgame, prioritize layer switching instead of panic building. Switching layers in endgame is a very good way to conserve your mats while still keeping yourself covered and helping people lose track of you. The next mistake is bad edit choices. In Chapter 6, editing fast isn't enough. You need to be able to edit smarter, and most players do very predictable edits that leave them exposed and easy to a one pump. A couple of ways you can fix this is firstly, use the peanut butter edit. This is the top right hand corner of a wall edit, and this is probably the best peak in the game. You'll see so many pros use it. Next, if you're in a 50-50 situation, reset instead of forcing an edit. So basically what I'm saying is if your opponent is on the other side of the wall and you do a wide edit, make sure to reset the wide edit instantly before your opponent get a shot off, just to make sure you're not committing to a 50-50, because you never want to do that. And after you reset, the best thing to do is then create a better angle where you won't get tagged back. Next, you want to use double edits to control space. Lastly, you want to use double edit downs a lot to keep control of the fight, and it will also allow you to have better edit choices. The more space you control, the more likely you are to be able to win the fight, because you'll be able to create a lot more angles and get tagged a lot less. A very good example of this is Cold, he'll always do it. He'll just stand on the box, wait for his opponent to try and box out, just double edit down on them. And he also then has every single angle possible for him to choose in which way he wants to end the fight. I'll quickly show you a quick drill for you to master your peaks. To practice your peaks, you're going to want to be in the map Mechanics Training V5 by Raider464. The map code is right here, and I will also put it in the description if you want to play this map. I definitely recommend it. It is the best map for practicing ever. But to practice your peaks in this map, it pretty much does it for you. You want to go to the comp section, and then you're going to want to press peak training, press timer if you want to have a timer at the top of your screen, press hard, max health, start. So all you want to do is just practice your peak, take the wall, and as you can see, if you do a bad peak, it will damage you. So it'll basically teach you to not do bad peaks. And that is the peanut butter peak that I was talking to you about earlier. This is another version of a peak. This is a long peak. So what you're going to want to do is jump, take the wall, edit from afar by holding your builds out, and then peak from back. Yeah. So you just want to do this over and over and over until your peaks are absolutely perfect. But even when they are, you still want to be doing it every single day. For the fifth and final mistake, having no end game plan. End game is where most players throw their games because they have no plan. If you don't know how to rotate, when to fight, or where to position, you're gonna lose. The first way you can fix this is by always planning your next rotation before the zone moves. This is something every single pro does. Next, in endgame, you want to stay in the middle layer. Not too high and definitely not second height, because that's exactly where height will be shooting down on. And you don't want to go too low either, because being on the ground makes you a massive target. So being on the middle for most of the endgame is very important. But if you feel like you need to, you can go for height. And for the last way to fix this mistake, you want to look for refreshes, but don't overcommit into the refreshes. You only want to get the refreshes if you extremely need it and you're running extremely low on mats. A way you can practice this is by loading into some solo customs or solo scrims and only focus on rotating and positioning, and don't look to take fights unless you really have to. Big mistake what a lot of people and myself at one point was doing was I would jump into a scrim and then just start fighting everyone as soon as fifth zone starts. But what scrims is about practicing rotates and how you can move around the map to make sure you're in the best position possible to win in a tournament. Because at the end of the day, you don't win any money from scrims, it's just practice to win money in a tournament. Anyway, now you know the biggest mistakes holding you back in Chapter 6 Season 2, but knowing isn't enough, you need to put these fixes into practice. I challenge you for at least one day to apply these tips into your games, and then come back and let me know in the comments if you've improved. If you want even more ways to go pro in Fortnite, check out my next video where I break down how to go pro in just 24 hours. If you really want to go pro, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos where I help you improve and get closer to your goal of going pro. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate the love and have a good day. Goodbye.